Today, I am here to speak about the Trecena of Ajpu, the Trecena of Ajpu, and I have a particular affinity to this Trecena. I think that this Trecena, firstly, it is named after one of the characters of the Popol Vuh, which there's copyright there, and so I really see Ajpu, one of the hero twins. This is a Trecena about following that hero's path, about reigniting our hero's path, and about kind of like getting in touch with our highest purpose. And so it's a Trecena where we may be tested, because that's got to come about for the hero to find out who they really are, but also for us to get a glimpse of the future and what we can become. Now, we're going to begin the Trecena on the day 1 Ajpu. We can see the 1 representing the potential. We can also see it representing the beginning. And so as such, it may be the new beginning of your hero's path, the reignition of your hero's path. Maybe you felt kind of like over the last few months, weeks, however it might be, maybe you've fallen off your path again. Maybe you got something that you kind of like, your practice hasn't been what it used to be, or whatever it might be. And sometimes we need that little prod to get us back on our path, back on our way towards finding out about the higher purpose of life and the higher purpose of our life. And they couldn't pull me over along. Now, of course, those things, that 1 I often see like the seed, and I talk about the seed needing the right conditions in order to germinate. So it might be a good day to be asking yourself, am I in the right conditions to allow my highest purpose to take root, to germinate, to fulfill its potential? Because sometimes we take ourselves out of those conditions. And so what conditions do you need for your hero to emerge, to get you onto your path again? It could be a good day to be looking at that. And of course, as I said, for a rebirth, for a restart of that heroic path, of that connection to higher source, higher purpose. From 1 Ajpu, we're then moving into 2 Imox. Now, I often associate this as the duality of the dream. Imox representing the dream world, but also representing the lake, representing the ocean, representing the great bodies of water, the connectivity between us all, the psychic field that exists between all of us. And here, combined with the number 2, which is this very binary number. It's a 1 or a 0. It's on or it's off. It's light or it's dark. And it can show both sides of this dream. It's kind of like, is it the dream? Is it the nightmare? Which one are we facing? Which one are we connected to? Because if we take it from the point of view of the human consciousness field, we can say, like the psychic field around us all, what are we choosing to connect into? Maybe that path of the hero is being obstructed because we're busy tuning into something which doesn't serve the greater purpose. Maybe we're kind of like become polarized in that. And maybe it's time to kind of work out, okay, to see both sides of it, to understand both sides of the psychic field, to make the choice between the 1 or the 0. Are we going to do it? Are we not going to do it? Which one do you choose? That might come up, and it's kind of like, which field do you want to tune into? That might be really cool. From 2 Imox, we then move into 3 Aq'ab'al. So we have Aq'ab'al, the nawal of communication, Aq'ab'al, the nawal of the voice, the nawal of the breath. And here we see it with the number 3. And the number 3 I often think of as a very internal number, the number of the home, the number of the heart, the number of, that represents those 3 stars around the Orion Nebula, the birthplace of stars. And so this is a number of great creativity, but that great creativity comes from within. So if we're looking at the number which really represents the within, then, and we're talking about application, then for me this is an absolute, focus on the inner voice. What's your inner voice telling you? What's your inner voice saying about this journey that we're on, about this journey of our inner hero, kind of like that we're here to face? It's like, who are we going to ask about it? 3 I feel would be a good day for, um, going within, for meditating and listening to your inner voice about how to follow the journey here. From 3 we then go to another day which I consider to be very important, but for a particularly different reason I'll get onto, and that's for Aq'ab'al. So what do we see with 4 Aq'ab'al representing the dawn, representing the new day coming in, also representing the new night coming in. It's the twilight at both ends of the day. And here, combined with the number 4, representing the physical plane of reality. So for Aq'ab'al, I like to think of like the twilight as being the conception of the day and the conception of the night. So it's all about bringing new concepts. And here we see it with the 4, which is about getting onto the ground, building the foundation for bringing those new concepts in. And maybe those new concepts are exactly what we need in order to follow our hero's path. It's about stabilizing. We're taking them from the dream. We've made our choice about what dream we're going to follow, and here we're turning it into a concept and understanding how we can bring that into the physical world. Now, it's really interesting that this Aq'ab'al day, as we can see, it's half light, it's half dark. I often think of it, if we defined it, night is when we can see like the stars around us. Day is when there's one star going in the sky, that's our sun. Twilight can often be a time when we see no stars, because it's too light to see the stars that we would normally see at night time, but but yet the sun has not yet risen, the sun's not in the sky. And so we're in that in-between time, in between the light and the dark. Now on 4 Aq'ab'al, there is actually going to be an annular solar eclipse which will go across Chile and Argentina. The reason why I think this is a particularly interesting one is because it fulfills a particular cycle within the calendars. That cycle is, according to whoever it is that names eclipse cycles, they call it a Tz'i. It is a cycle of approximately 10 cycles of the sacred calendar, 2,599 days. The last time that there was an eclipse on the day was the day 5 Cat, and that was on the 21st of August of 2017. That was what they called the Great American Eclipse. It went from Oregon all the way across the USA to Florida. Okay, we are now getting this 10 cycles later eclipse that's happening across the whole, literally across the South American continent as well. So it's kind of interesting to see perhaps this resonance on this day of 4 Aq'ab'al, on this day of bringing the light and dark into balance and building a foundation of the concepts for it, that this is a day of resonance with that eclipse. So maybe it's also a day of saying to yourself, okay, on my hero's path, what concepts am I stabilizing that I was maybe working on the day of that particular eclipse back in 2017? From 4 Aq'ab'al, we then move into 5 Cat. So, Cat, the Nawal of the net. Cat days I often see as being days for decluttering, working out what you want to hold on to, what you want to carry with you, and what it's time to let go, what it's time to release from you. And here we see it with the number 5, representing work, representing putting your energy into something, because things don't just fall into our lap. We have to work on it a bit, especially if we're on a hero's path. And so as you take this path, it's a good day to assess, to put your energy into the work of what do I want to carry forwards on my hero's path? What am I still good with being attached to? What is it time for me to detach from? Was it time, kind of like, is there something in my net which is slowing me down? And sometimes this can be a burden. It might be a false attachment that we have. It might be an attachment to an old system that, we're still kind of still present in our life, but maybe it doesn't benefit our path moving forwards. And maybe we kind of like look through the bag and say, oh, that, I don't need to be carrying that anymore. We can make the space in our carrying it so that we can allow something new to come. Okay, now the 5 would sort of say to me that this is not necessarily kind of like just, oh, just think about it and it's gone. It's like it needs a little bit of work. So anything that needs your energy put into it, in order to release it from the net, in order to free up some space, this is a good day for it. And of course, this might, relate to your garage or your house or whatever it might be, as well as saying, right, okay, I need to clear this space up so that I can allow my adventure to continue, so that I can ensure that I have enough resource in the bag in order to move forwards. From 5 cat, we then move into 6 can. So can, the Nawal of wisdom, can, the Nawal of power. And here we see it with a particularly beneficial number, the number 6. So for me, the number 6 I always see as being the number 4, the stability, the groundedness, the down-to-earth nature. But here, joining with the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth, therefore bringing kind of like the divine expression of the masculine and feminine polarities into the earthly plane. So for me, this is a more expressed stability. This is calling on the heaven and earth in order to manifest wisdom and power into this realm. Can is a day of teachers. Can is a day of the people who share their wisdom with us in order to help us to see through illusions. I think this is a kind of really, for me, this is a really important thing about Can. It helps us to understand, because sometimes we need an illusionist to show us how the illusion is made. And Can days are really good for that. And here we see one which is not just grounded in common sense, but really connected to the other world as well. And so for 6 Can, it's a really good day to understand, kind of like whatever wisdom that might come through, that we really kind of like drawing on heaven and earth, but then doing something with it in the physical plane. Because, kind of like sometimes it might be, we go along to this seminar or this workshop or whatever, we read the book on it, that kind of thing, but it's like we get the information, but we don't turn it into wisdom, or we turn it into wisdom, but then we don't use it in the physical realm. And the 6 Can is kind of like saying, all right, okay, let's draw on heaven and earth and combine it with the information that we have to create something which is common sense into the physical realm. From 6 Can, we then go into 7 Kame. So here we have another character from the pop over. We've got Aq'ab'al to begin the Trecena, and we've got Kame in the middle of the Trecena. Kame was one of the lords of death. He was one of the lords of the underworld. And it was when Kame was defeated that the hero twins, Aq'ab'al and Aq'ab'al, had their victory over the underworld. The number 7 can be seen as choices. It can also be seen as endings and death. And of course, Kame can also be seen as death. It's like the death of death, okay? And so this, first, when you say it out loud, it kind of like sounds like it's quite an ominous day in a way. But I also see that when Aq'ab'al and Aq'ab'al had their victory over 7 Kame, this was when they had their victory over the whole of Aq'ab'al. This was when they finally overcame the whole of the fear, the whole of the kingdom of the underworld. And so for me, 7 Kame is about like saying, right, okay, whatever it is that I've been fearing to face, today is the day I'm going to face it. I'm going into that cave to go and find that dragon, find that demon, find out whatever it is that we've been fearing. And go and have our final confrontation with it. Now, of course, this could be, kind of like, I always think about this kind of like old paradigm, new paradigm. Are we going down there? Are we going to emerge with the sword and the dragon's head? Or are we going to go down there to face that fear and emerge from that cave riding the dragon, to ally with that fear, to understand that fear, to move it around, to end that fear in a different way so that it becomes our power, which I think is a much more heroic path than just going down there and slaying the demon. So, I don't want to rule out either way. Maybe a different way is right for you. But it's an exceptionally good day to face the fears that might have been, let's say, kind of trying to avoid for a little while, because this is all about our step up to the next level. Okay? So from 7 Kame, we then move into 8 Kirch. 8 Kirch, Washiki Kirch, a very, very important day. 8 Kirch is supposed to be a day of initiation for the higher level elders. It is a day on which the initiation is kind of like the marriage to the wilderness, because Kirch is in the wilderness, and it's from the wilderness that the wisdom of the higher level elders is derived. 8 Kirch is a wonderful day to be absorbing everything there is to feel about nature. With all Kirch days, I highly recommend getting out into the woods. I highly recommend getting out into the greenery and going and observing nature, because that's what we do. I often think about, like, on Kirch days, or particularly if we carry the Nawal Kirch, it's really important for our deer to go and browse the forest, to go and graze on the green leaves, because it brings us the energy. Whether that energy is something that we absorb, kind of like to bolster our own energy, whether it is to go and get the wisdom from the trees, from the rocks, from the birds, to go and observe nature in that way. And we see that at Kirch again, it's kind of in the middle of the Trecena. And so we're also looking at the guidance that our hero can receive through assimilating the knowledge of nature. The 8 representing the wholeness. It is the 1 and the 7 together. It's everything there is to know. And so, like, for me, there is also something of this, kind of like when we're talking about nature, we kind of think about, I get this kind of like walking through the woods in a Disney kind of style with the birds and the flowers and all of that kind of thing. But when we're walking through in the storm, when we're walking through in the rain, when we're walking through in the cold, when we're walking through at night, and we see it's the same forest, but it brings us different understanding. It's all part of the whole, and it's the integration of all of that together that gives us the true understanding of what power we carry. It's our ability to navigate, whether it's a beautiful sunny day with flowers, or whether it's a dark, stormy night. Understanding nature helps us to navigate truly, and we can't just walk in the daytime all the time. Sometimes our hero is going to have to walk in the night. And so knowing all faces of nature on that 8 Kirch day is something that we can ask for. Now, for me, the 8 days are also often ceremonial days. And so if we were making ceremony on that day, it's a ceremony to give thanks for our connection to the natural world and all the understanding that comes to us through the wilderness. From 8 Kirch, we then move into 9 Anil. And I see this as a particularly beneficial day. We have Anil representing abundance, representing coming to maturity, representing the kind of like the reaping of the reward from all the hard work that we've put in. And we have it there with the number 9, representing the feminine and representing life. So it's kind of like the harvest of life's bounty is one way that we could see the day 9 Anil. The number 9 can be seen as independent. And so this may well be kind of like looking at what, let's say, abundance have you independently created that helps your hero to move forwards. For me, there is a certain something about 9 really also representing the connection to the maturing of our life. Surely this has to be something with regards to the Trecena, with regards to the Trecena that represents the path to our higher state of being. Here we are coming to this mature point in our life. So the day 9 at meal is a wonderful day for finishing off anything that you might be, kind of like projects, plans, ideas, anything to do with your life path, anything to do with getting information, that kind of thing. 9 at meal is the day to bring it in. Now, I would also like to add, like for me, a meal is the celebration, the joy that comes from maturity, from maturing our souls, from maturing our core, and however it might be. We're happy when we've come to the point where we're done, we've finished it, everything is ready to go forwards. And here, what it's connected to is life. So it's a great day for the celebration of life itself, and the celebration of the abundance in life, the abundance that helps your hero's journey. Now, whenever we've received that abundance, of course, after that celebration, then we're going to want to give something back. And the day 9 meal is followed by the day 10 Toch. So here we see Toch connected with the community, the coming together of hands with society. So as always, kind of like if you look at the bottom of the screen, particularly in the description that goes along with this video, you'll see some links to people like Odin and Midwife Project and Aq'ab'al, places where we can make our payment, where we can make a donation to the communities to help fund the communities around us. And for me, this is a day to give something back. This is a day to make our payment, to give thanks for what we've received, all of that good stuff that's been helping to empower our lives, has helped us to ripen. All of this joy that we've received, this joy of life that we've received on 9 April, on 10 Talk, we have the opportunity to serve. We have the opportunity to give back in some way. So if there is some opportunity to donate to a social cause, or if there's some opportunity to go out into your community and make a difference, 10 Talk is the day, the day to do. Oh, this is a really, really good day for getting community venture together, for helping to bond your community, for lending a hand to help others out. That's the 10. Here it is offering from our heart with the love Toch. From 10 Toch, we then move into 11 Tz'i. So, often we'll see, let's say, movies, just where the hero thinks that they've finished, they've kind of like they've achieved their goal, they've done what they needed to do, they've kind of like overcome the demon, they've made their payment, it's time to get back to their realm, and something comes along just to check, hey, you be. And for me, this is the 11th Tz'i, because we have Tz'i, which can be the Nawal of faith and justice and law and spiritual guidance, but it can also be the Nawal of the vices, it could be the Nawal of temptation. And here we have the 11, which is a high number, and it's coming from many different places, and it's over here, and it's over here, and it's over here, and it's over here. And it's kind of like, right, okay, you sure you're embracing your hero's path? What about this? Does this still tempt you? What about that? Does that still tempt you? Can you be swayed off your path? So you may find that on 11Tz'i, because the 11 is a rather strong number, there may be this really kind of like this strong temptation coming in from like particularly kind of like sources you haven't seen for years or something like that. All of a sudden pops up. What's this doing back there? Now, of course, in this journey that you've been on, this has matured you. You've gone through this process. And the question is, will we, be tempted off our path? Will we be tempted off that path of faith to us in ourselves, of loyalty to ourselves, to our higher purpose, by the vices that we used to have around? So I see it as somewhat of a testing day. You may get echoes from your past come up of things that you might have used to enjoy. You might have known that they weren't necessarily good for you, but they were still, kind of like hanging around on the periphery of your life. And maybe 11Tz'i kind of shines the spotlight on that and says, in the back? Yeah. Are you faithful to yourself? Are you faithful to your path? Or are you still going to be led astray by that? So just be aware those things may come up on 11C. From 11C, we then move to 12 bats. So it's kind of like back on track again with the Nawal bats, the Nawal of creativity, the Nawal of the artistic genius. And here we see it with the number that represents the bundling of our life experiences together, bringing everything together in one place. So what is it you want to create? On this hero's path, what are you creating? As you're going through your life, what are you creating with it? And like, how can you work your life experience into it? I see it as something with that. Also, it's this creative genius, which is not just kind of going to repeat something which has been done before. It's asking you, like, okay, how can you create something novel and beautiful using all of your life experience? And we've all had different life experiences. Like the 12 bats is the day to weave it all together, to make your beautiful tapestry, to make your beautiful creation through weaving your experience into it. So if there is an artistic or creative project you're involved in, this is a great day for you to be like maybe having some like a reflective mood and look back and like, okay, how do I weave that experience from 10 years ago, 20 years ago into that creativity that I'm expressing today? And then finally, where do we end? The Trecena of the hero, we end it on day 13F. So we start on Hunahpu. As I said, we can see that as the reinitiation of our hero's path, and we end up on 13F, which we could see as the path of the ancestors or the path of spirit. We have F representing the journey, representing exploration, representing the path ahead of us. And here we have it connected with the number 13, which can represent the spirit realm, which can represent the ancestors. So another way that we could look at this is say, if you needed any more help along your path, about what path your hero is going to take or that kind of idea, 13F is the day to ask spirit for guidance on the path. We can see it as the path of the ancestors. So again, in that Hunahpu, in that finding that higher purpose, it's okay, how looking at books like the Popol Vuh and how do they relate to your own path right now? What is your hero here to overcome? And how can the voices of the ancestors or the voice of spirit guide you on that path towards your higher purpose? How can they help you to overcome the challenges? How can they help you to be guided in the right direction? How can they strengthen your spirit? All of those things are things that we can be looking at, things that we can be asking for on the day 13F, which may truly show us a spiritual path. So, I hope that you found that interesting, and I look forward to seeing you in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Ajpu. Thank you.